Parshas Shemini, Tavshanai Vav. This week is also Parshas Parah. When we hit Parshas Parah, we know that we have passed Purim. And when we pass Purim, Pesach is right here, a couple of weeks away. We're going to be already 3 weeks. 3 weeks from tomorrow night, we're going to be in Mirz Hashem, sitting by the Seder. Very exciting. So hopefully when we get closer to Pesach, maybe the week before Pesach, we'll do some special Nesivos Shalom on the Yontiv of Pesach. But here we are this week after Purim. And Vayehi Bayoim HaShemini. This week's parsha begins by talking about the 8th day. Vayehi Bayoim HaShemini Kara Moshe LeAharon Uvanav. Moshe Rabbeinu called out on the 8th day to Aaron HaKohen and his children. So we're going to discuss and we're going to discover in tonight's Shiur the significance of an 8th day. The significance of this 8th day. And we're going to see that the 8th day, Vayehi Bayoim HaShemini, actually has a lot of significance. And the 8th day has significance, of course, today, not just as a singing group, although they're an excellent singing group, the 8th day. But 8th day, the idea of 8th day comes from a much deeper meaning. And really, after the Shivas Yimei Miluim, after the time where each day the Mishkan was put up, and the Mishkan was taken apart, and they practiced, they had like a spring training, we came now to the 8th day, which was like the opening day. And I don't mean to, I know we're also in the Indian, with a different opening day kind of day this week. But the 8th day was actually the opening day of the Mishkan. And once we came to this 8th day, the Mishkan was ready to remain standing. It was actually ready for use. We weren't practicing anymore. We weren't rehearsing. Now the Mishkan was ready. And the Nesivos Shalom says that in Judaism, the number 8 is referred to when we want to speak of something on a new level. We have 7, and then once we get to the number 8, we're talking about something which is totally on a new level. And it's something that transcends Olam Hazeh. Olam Hazeh is a unit of 7, and I know we're getting deep here and a little bit, so you try to hang on to your thinking cap. Olam Hazeh is represented by the numbers of 7, and once we go to the 8th, it goes to a world where there's new Kedusha, a new level. So for 7 days in what we're discussing now, for 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu, he built the Mishkan and he took it down. But on the 8th day, it stayed up. It was on a totally new and different level. And the Nesivos Shalom says that this idea of 8 is really defined by the Yomim Tovim also. On Sukkot, we know there are 7 days. There are 7 days of Sukkot. And then we come to Shemini Atzeres. And if you learn through Svarim, especially Hasidic Svarim, if you learn through different Svarim that talk about Shemini Atzeres takes us to an entirely new level of Kedusha. And for the Yontif that we're coming up to now also, Pesach has, the Torah tells us, right, Pesach has 7 days. What's the 8th level of Pesach? It says in Nesivos Shalom that Shavuos, the 1 day of Shavuos, is the 8th day, so to speak, the 8th level after Pesach. And the Ramban really looks at it in a little different way. The Ramban in Parshas Emor, the Ramban tells us that really, that Shavuos is the 8th day after what? Not after the 7 days of Pesach. The Ramban says that the 1 day of Shavuos, which we look at like the 8th day, that's after the 7 weeks of Sephiras Omer. So each week of Sephiras Omer is looked at as 1 day, as one of the 7. After the 7 weeks, we get to the 8th day. So the 8th day doesn't necessarily have to be an exact number. We're not discussing the number, we're discussing different levels. And the Nesivos Shalom tells us that although we know, of course, that Shabbos is the 7th day of the week, right? There's no disputing that, Sunday through Friday. And Shabbos is the 7th day of the week. But Shabbos aside from being the 7th day of the week, Shabbos goes into a whole totally new level and higher level of Kedusha represented by the number 8. And the Nesivos Shalom explains as follows. He says, until Yetzias Mitzrayim, you look through the Torah, until Yetzias Mitzrayim, Shabbos in the Torah is referred to as Yom HaShvi. Shabbos is referred to as the 7th day. We said in the Torah, Vayechal Elokim Bayom HaShvi. Hashem finished on what we know as Shabbos, but the Torah refers to it as Yom HaShvi. Vayishbos Bayom HaShvi. Hashem Kaviyachol rested on the 7th day. Again, referred to as Yom HaShvi. Vayevarach Elokim, what did Hashem bless? As Yom HaShvi. In all these different instances, we see that the Torah refers to the 7th day of the week as Yom HaShvi. But only after Yetzias Mitzrayim, only after Klal Yisrael became the Am HaNivchar, we became the chosen nation, did we get this gift known as Shabbos. So Shabbos and Yom HaShvi are really two different things. The Gemara in Masechta Shabbos, Daf Yud Beis, tells us, Chazal, a very famous Maimar Chazal, we've spoken about it a number of times, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Matana toiva yesh li bebeis genazai. Hashem said, I have a very, very special gift for you, for Klal Yisrael. And what is it? V'Shabbos Shema. And Shabbos is its name. V'ani mevakesh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I want to give, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, He wants to give it to Klal Yisrael. It's a very, very special present that up until this point was hidden. But there was a Yom HaShvi, of course. But now, Shabbos, that up to this point, it was only a Yom HaShvi. What does Yom HaShvi mean? Yom HaShvi means we're still connected to the other 6 days of the week. We have 1 through 6 and then 7. So that's connected to the other 6 days. Still connected to this world. But now, when we receive Shabbos, when we refer to the 7th day as Shabbos, Shabbos has no connection to this world. It's an 8th level. It's an 8th day, and it's not an 8th day actually, it's an 8th level, and that is something which is above all else. And those of you you'll see that we say in Zmiris on Friday night, Kol Mekadei Shvi Karoyoloi. What do we refer to it there? We refer to it as Shavi. So Zok Nesivos Shalom, Kol Mekadei Shavi Karoyoloi. As long as it's known as Yom HaShvi, then you know what? Karoyoloi. Each person gets Shabbos with what you deserve. The way you behaved for the 6 days of the week, the way you've been for 6 days of the week, Kol Mekadei Shavi. If Shabbos is on the level of a Shavi, then Karoyoloi. Whatever you deserve, that's what you get, because it goes in checks and balances. It goes in a count of 1 through 7. But once you go to the next level, where you say, we say, Kol Kasher Kol Shomer Shabbos Kadosh Mechal. Anybody, once you are keeping Shabbos, then we say Schorei Hagana'oi. Then we go ahead and say, no, that takes you to a totally new level. If you're keeping Shabbos, if you're keeping a Shabbos which is, and you understand what Shabbos is, and the Shabbos is meant to be above all Madregas, then the Yom HaShvi becomes a Shabbos. And then the Shabbos, then you're able to get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're able to get much more than you deserve. Shabbos takes on a whole new level, a whole new world. That's why the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos, Daf Kuf Yud Chesam and Beis, the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos says, Kol HaShomer Shabbos Kehilchasa. Anybody who keeps Shabbos with its halachos, afilu oived avodah zarah kedar enosh. Even if somebody is oived avodah zarah kedar enosh, which was a very severe transgression of avodah zarah, moichel loy, he gets forgiven. Try to understand that. Somebody Shomer Shabbos gets forgiven for chas v'shalom being oived avodah zarah. But Zok Nesivos Shalom, if you read that Gemara, it doesn't say Kol HaShomer Shavi. It doesn't say if we just keep the Shabbos, if you just refrain from doing malacha, or you just keep Shabbos as it's another day. What does it say? Kol HaShomer Shabbos, where you've gone higher, and what happens when you go higher? You go out of the world for which you sinned. So a person may have done Averos during the week. A person may have been, in this case of the Gemara, he could have been Oived Avodah Zarah. However, if you're Shomer Shabbos, if you go to the new level of Shabbos, you know what? You're not in the same world. You're in a different world. You're in the 8th level. You're in a different place, and in that world you didn't sin. So you get, Hashem forgives you because you're not the person that sinned in that world. And that is why we say in the Sphira, coming up after Pesach, Sheva Shabbosois Temimos Tiyena, right? Then we say, Animachos HaShabbos HaShvi is Tishkuru Chamishim Yoim. That you count 7 weeks, and then you get up to the 50th day. So really there's 2 questions over here. First of all, why do we say Sheva Shabbosois and not Sheva Shavuos? Why does the Pasuk say we count Sheva Shabbosois? And not only that, why do we say that we count to the Yom HaChamisha? We don't count Chamisha, we count only 49 days. So really, on both ends, this Pasuk requires explanation. It says in the Nesivos Shalom, you know what it is? We're speaking now about a Kabbalah Torah. Kabbalah Torah, when Klal Yisrael got the Torah, it put us on a totally new plane. It put us on a totally different level than we were on till now. It put us on, so to speak, like the 8th day. And that is the day number 50. That's why the Torah refers to it. 49 is 7 times 7. That's just the counting of days. But no, coming to a Kabbalah Torah, we're on a different level. So the Torah is telling us, Tisperu Chamishim Yoim, that when you come to that level, you come to that level of a Kabbalah Torah, you're on the 50th level. You're on an 8th day. You're on a 50th day. You're on a level that transcends the actual counting. And you know how we get there? Just counting weeks of Sphira is not enough. The Torah tells us, Sheva Shabbosois. You have to count the Shabbos. The Shabbos has to be 7 meaningful Shabbosois. And once you do that, that takes you on a whole level. So when we read the Torah this week and we say, Vayehi Bayoim Hashmini, that it was on the 8th day, it's not just counting 1, 2, 3, and then 7, and then 8. The Torah is telling us, Vayehi Bayoim Hashmini, when we came, opening day of the Mishkan, brought us that now we had a place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to rest in this world amongst us. We have a different kind of life. We have totally a different type of life. And from seeing what we know from Shabbos and seeing what we know from Shavuos, Vayehi Bayoim Hashmini puts us on a different level. It's that 8th level, and those it's brought down different things in the Zohar and Kabbalah and different things. The 8th, we're not going to get into all of that, but suffice it to say, but when you read the Parsha, and when you read the Parsha on this day of Yom HaShabbos, which Shabbos every Yid can actually take himself out of the world, out of the rat race that he is for 7 days. Vayehi Bayoim Hashmini tells us that it's possible for us to go to another level. I would think that there's 7 days and you're stuck. You hit the wall. The Torah tells us, Vayehi Bayoim Hashmini, that if a Yid wants, and a Yid thinks, and a Yid desires, he can take himself to a totally higher spiritual level. And let's think of that lesson this week. Vayehi Bayoim Hashmini. Let it be that we reach that next level called the 8th day.